His Dark Materials, No Rest for the Wicked, Part 2. And hi, everybody. Welcome back to me. Welcome back to me doing these. Welcome back to Roleplay Reviews. It's been a while, so I'm a little out of practice, but I did think, yeah, I'm going to do a review for this one. And at first, I just kind of typed it all out, and it then turned into a 42-page essay. So I figured, yeah, you got a lot to say. You should probably turn your camera on and shoot a video for it. But we're going to do a roleplay review for His Dark Materials, No Rest for the Wicked Part 2. This is an Eichenbahn log, so we know it's going to be good. Characters involved are Zofu and Flemis. The type is dialogue. I will argue that later in my thesis. The arc, obviously, His Dark Materials, and the synopsis is that Zofu and Flemis share a moment at the forge to the Shadow Iron Mine. The Lord of Blackley, overwhelmed by his responsibilities and the curses he's wrought, opens up about his frustrations and fears. Together, they arrive at an unorthodox epiphany. Accurate. Everything that that synopsis said is accurate. And I have got to tell you guys that I read this log. I read it initially, and I put my little comment at the bottom here, where I said simply, "A man is tired." That's all I said. Lai actually read it as well, and despite me saying I would do a review for it, also did his review, which awesome. I'm sure Eichenbahn appreciates that. But I read this log and I was like, yeah, a man is tired. And I didn't get to sit down and read it. I was reading it on my lunch break, so I got food in my mouth, and I'm like, oh, people watching and just all the stuff. So I didn't read it. And then I read it. I read it again. I've read this log, no lie, guys. I probably read this log 5 or 6 times, and each time that I did, I kept asking myself, is the opinion that I'm coming to about this log, is it fair? Is it accurate? Is it right? Or is it just how I'm feeling in the moment, right? Is my mojo, my mojo's been off for a little bit this past week. And it's am I letting that affect my feelings on this log? Which is why it kind of took me so long to get a true review out. And before I even dive into why I feel the way that I feel about it, let me just explain to you guys what happens. So, yes, Zofu is at the forge to the Shadow Iron Mine, but he is not at Castle Blackley. He's in the lands of Blackley, but out on the outskirts, right? He's in the holler of the Blackley lands instead of at the castle, which is why it opens up with Flemis, who's in the orange, saying, "What in Deborah's hairy armpit are you doing out here at this hour?" And so what is Zofu doing? Well, he's trying to repair his arm. The he gives it a way more, or I guess Lux gives it a way more, a bigger name and prestige than I gave it. But it's the Ars Metallica Hand, the Devil Breaker, right? And he has all these names for it. But yeah, he's repairing his Devil Breaker, which is, for those of you that played Devil May Cry 5, yes, that's exactly where I stole that from. But I'm looking for some of the photos that I think best represents this item that he's trying to repair. So let's edit some stuff live in a video for the people. And let's put it up here for you guys so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. This thing. Wow, that's a huge image. It's the prosthetic hand. There we go. That Rizian forged for Zofu and gave to him for Yule. I think that was 23, yeah. And that's what he's trying to repair. And at the moment, it doesn't look as pretty as it does here, right? It's pretty beat up, so he's out repairing it. That's what the words say, right? That's what is on page here. And while I was like thinking of like how I can explain this story, and let me just say right now, it's the perfect score log, right? Like the writing in it, there's nobody better on channel than Eichenbahn Lux. There just isn't. So on my best day, I feel like I'm like number 3. So it's like there's no one better, and this is their quality, right? If it wasn't up to par, I would tell you, but it's up to their quality. So this is a really good log. But there's also a story inside of a story that's happening in this log. There is there are words on page that are explaining what's in front of you, and there's a story that's happening in this scene, but there's a lot of world building that's also going on here. And I'm not going to tell you guys what the story is because you have to be like reading it to really understand it. You have to be reading all of it, right? And this is one of those things that when there's the big payoff, it's gonna be really extra rewarding for the people who were paying attention, right? It's like watching a movie and watching it for the second time, and you're like, oh my god, the big thing that happened at the end was because of like all this little stuff, and that's what's in here, right? There's little bits of world building that I think that's the real reason why this log exists, right? There's like 1 or 2 posts that was the image in the head. It's like, yeah, I want to say this, but how do I say it without just saying it? Well, I have to put all this around it. Maybe not. But yeah, Zofu's out here trying to repair his arm. And Flemis comes out to see him. And he even asks him, like, why are you here when there's clearly a forge closer? And it's like one of those things, like, I'm asking you this question knowing the answer, but I want to see where you're at. Like, I'm like gauging your response, because how you respond to this question will completely change how I go forward with this conversation. And he gets the response that he wants, and he's like, okay, I now, this is all Flemis, right? Flemis is like, I now have to navigate this channel. So he then says, like, okay, I didn't know you knew how to smith, right? Like, tell me, talk to me. And Zofu, I don't know if he knows he's being he's being therapied right now, but he kind of is. And he just opens up and he's saying, like, yeah, my father showed me once, but that was hundreds of years ago. It was a lifetime ago. And, almost like another me stood here, right? For those of you who have less than 25 years under your belt on this planet, that is a weird feeling, right? When you start to age, you realize that you 20 years ago is a completely different person than the you now. And it's one of those, I wish I knew then what I knew now, right? And I wish that I was understanding how important this knowledge that's being put on me is. And yeah, he's kind of telling him, like, his father taught him how to smith. He didn't really think he needed it. He was in his own head. He was in his own way. I like ambition was growing and didn't have time for lectures from his father. And they're just having this back and forth, and it really comes down to Zofu just feeling overwhelmed. And we'll come back to that later. He's feeling overwhelmed, and he's kind of like telling Flemis, like, what do you want, right? Like, why have you come? And Flemis is simply, I just brought you some wine, right? I just thought maybe you would like to have a drink. And it's like, yeah, it is the last one, right? And if you guys haven't noticed, I'm just kind of reading through the dialogue because it's the most important part. And he's asking him, like, is this the last cask that we have? And he's like, we could barely give this stuff away, fucking Vinian gold, which, mwah, love that. Tying the game into the role play, love it. All right, let me get control of this again. He is now talking like, okay, so you brought me the wine. What else? Like, I know that there's something else that you want, Flemis. Why did you follow me all the way the shit out here? Like, I can handle the weather. You can't handle the weather. Why are you here? It was not just to bring me this wine. So tell me what I'm doing wrong, right? And Flemmis, to skip the rest of what's pretty much happening here, is Flemmis is just there for Zofu. He's just there as a friend to say, like, hey man, I understand that you were doing everything right, and we are thriving. But you seem really unhappy, right? Like, what's going on? Come talk to me. And Zofu is just letting this frustration build and build and build and build and build until it kind of boils over, right? And we see the red text here where he's invoking the tone of his father. And, like, turning up the asshole, like, to, like, a 10, right? And is basically losing it, and he crashes out. I hate to use modern terms, but he crashes out pretty fucking hard, from seemingly nothing. and we're gonna get to that. Trust me, we're gonna get to all that. And so he has this epic crash out, and then just kind of collapses, right, and starts just really freaking the fuck out. He is saying here, like, Nova is dead. My father is dead. It's my fault. And there's all these other people in my life. Saliath, Jaime, Hypo, Len, Styx, Indon. I'm leaving the other one out because that person's dead too. But, they're all glad to accept my help. But when I need it, where are they? Where are they, Flemmis? And, like, in my head, I just imagined him, like, strung out. And the thing is, he's not even drunk, right? He's not even intoxicated. He's just fucking losing it. Because all he wanted to do was fix his arm. And he's got this Arcanum to run, and he's got Blacklay, and, he even says, like, Morgan Le Fay, fear itself is coming, and I can't stop it, and it killed my father. I'm not as strong as him. Ah! And then he loses it. And Flemmis tries to slap him back to it, and he is just not there. Like, we've seen Zofu this unhinged before, but he is, like, really stressing out. I think it even says, like, he's having an anxiety attack. And then Flemmis just says, it's like they say the one word or the one phrase that means nothing to the person saying it, but it's the epiphany that the main character has been waiting for. And he's like, you can't be at two places at once, so don't try to be. Or, sorry, you can't be at two places at once, so just have to try. And that wakes Zofu up, and he's like, well, why not? Why can't I be in two places at once? Why can't I be here at the castle doing what I need to do and elsewhere? And Flemmis is like, I don't know what you're talking about, man, but how can I help? And that's how the log ends, right? And from all that, that's why I said, like, a man is tired. And Lai kind of, like, spilled the beans a little bit on what is going to happen. I have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen. I don't know if Ike has disclosed that information to the greater public, so it's not my character, not my reveal, so I won't drop the news here. But my feelings, I know you guys must be wondering, like, Riz, what were your feelings that you were talking about? My feelings about this log, and the more that I jump into it, I'm less hostile towards the conclusion that I got to. But my overall general consensus feeling in my soul, Flemmis deserves better. That is what I came up with. And I hope that by me saying that and everything that I'm going to say after, it is understood that I am not criticizing the writer. I am not talking anything about directly to them. This is 130% directly to the character Zofu, as if I were in this world or he were in mine, right? The same way, and I'm a big fan of Game of Thrones, so like the same way I would say like I can't fucking stand Cersei Lannister, so I would have a conversation with her, right? Not that I'm saying like my negative feeling for Cersei equals that of Zofu. I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean. Like a very well written villainous character makes you hate them, and a complicated character like Zofu, I would say Zofu right now is reminiscent of like Vegeta post Namek, but like Namek and Android Saga, like right in there where he was like, I'm not trying to actively kill you guys, but I'm really not your friend either. Anytime I can inflict pain on you, I'm going to, and anything that's in my benefit, I don't give a shit about you guys. And like just in this log, in this square and sphere, that's how I feel about Zofu in this moment. And I understand like the part of me that feels like Flemis deserves better wishes that this log was between two people, so that way we could see more directly of Flemis like emoting as themselves, not what they were seeing. Because we are told that, you know, in this paragraph that I highlighted, like we are told how Flemis feels, and I'm just going to read this one. He looked at Zofu and saw him for the first time in a while. He really saw him. His lord was bruised, his body constantly healing from whatever had last cut him to ribbons, his hair wild and unkempt. The whole castle told tales of how the Lord of Blacklay never slept, but Flemis was beginning to realize the raw truth of it. He really didn't sleep at all. Once upon a time, it had been because of his night terrors, because of the damage he suffered in Minas Mordred, and perhaps that was still a piece of it, but now it was something different entirely. He was harried. He was always working, always doing something. Every person in the castle had a need for him, but he was breaking. The candle was lit on both ends. He was quite literally beginning to fall apart. He was pressed, how he pressed through the exhaustion, the Hob would never know. So we are told that, yep, Zofu's worn out. Like, it's a miracle he's still standing, and I'm in such awe and admiration of you. We're told that, right? But like as I was reading this and I'm looking at it, and perhaps like I am the absolute worst person who should be, I won't say reviewing it because I'm allowed to give my opinion on it, but like I'm too close to this character and I'm also too close to this, because once I got done, I couldn't help but make the parallel of Nova and Zofu, right? Everything that Zofu was saying, like he's so stressed out and he can't take it anymore, and he's trying to fix this thing that he knows he can't fix, but he just wants to get something productive done to get his mind off of all the other things that's going on. I like that was Nova when she was king, and you know, she I guess was kind of like forced to internalize that and couldn't have an outburst like this, right? That was my my am I just too angry about this? But it's like at one point Zofu is so angry that he launches an attack at Flemis, right? Now he is a master of his craft and his arts, so if he really wanted to kill him, he would have. And he made it as close of like, that's how close to death you are around me, right? And stop trying to antagonize me. Stop trying to piss me off. And it's like, I don't think we could have that from Nova, right? And I understand it's like, well, they're different characters. One's, you know, deadlier than the other. But that's where I was like, okay, all right. So I get it. He's overwhelmed. But like that was too far. For me, that part, and again, this is not something that I would say like, yeah, you should go back and omit that and take that out. No, I think everything that's here is a perfect character moment for Zofu. I think it all needs to be there. It's all him. But at the same time, right, my heart broke for Flemis because of what I read earlier, where He says, "My friend is dead. Nova is dead. My only friend, Flemis." Like, that broke my heart. All the others, Saliath, Jamie, Hypo, Len, Styx, Indon, Rizian, they're all glad to accept my help, but where are they? Where are they, Flemis? And it's like, yeah, where are they? They're not here. But I brought you some wine. I brought you some wine. And what did you do, Zofu? What did you do? His features immediately twisted to disgust. And he said, "Really? We could barely give this stuff away. I tried this." And he's like, "This shit? Didn't see a thank you." Right, Zofu? Again, I'm talking to Zofu right now. I'm not talking to Eichenbach. I'm talking to that asshole. There is one person in this world that Rizian was jealous of outside of Majime, but Majime never was around when he was around, so it was Flemis. He was like, "I wish I could be as close to you as Flemis is." That is your one true best friend. And even though we know that you could have killed him, and he knows that you could have killed him, and you launch this attack at him, it's like watching, like, I don't want to say abusive boyfriend, but kind of, right? Like, why'd you throw that fucking vase across the room, right? That's what I felt. I was like, you. And you know what's funny is I don't know, and I don't know if the writer is doing this on purpose. Maybe because they do say like, hey, you're the Sorcerer Supreme, but the parallels between Doctor Strange and Zofu are phenomenal, right? Like, he really is like the Doctor Strange, and not even in the sense of like they're both magicians and they weave spells and things like that. I mean the personality, right? Like, I feel like at that point where that attack was launched, where we're right here, right? Was like in the first Doctor Strange where he like goes off on Christine and she's like, "All right, this is the part where you apologize, right? And you say I'm sorry to the one person that's here for you." And he's like, "This is the part where you leave." Like, that's almost this, right? And it's like, damn. And when I say that this is good, I do mean this is good. Because why? I can think of like 6 scenarios that could come just from this relationship, right? Like, I could clearly see Flemis flipping and becoming a villain. And I think that would be like, because like, who can hurt you the most other than the people that are closest to you? And I don't know, like, I'm just a fan right now talking about the Wizkaz Bansky, right? The unknown. Like, I'm just making up scenarios because that's how invested in the story I am, right? That's how good this is, right? Like, but Flemis could be a villain. There could be an uprising within Blackley, right? It's like, yeah, like we're practicing the old demon ways, man, and you looking pretty weak right now, and someone not even from Ashfall, like another clan's coming in, and I don't know, man, it looks like we might be switching sides, right? Like, you came in, won the place, we serve you. Somebody else may come in, right? The Vroodmeister's still out there. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many possibilities that could come from this. And I'm curious. And that's why I was like, yeah, this is, while I was mad, I won't say mad, but while I was like shaking my finger at the TV, like, "Damn you, Tywin Lannister. Like, love him like your son. He is your son." Like, that's what I'm doing, right? I hope, Lux, I hope that I hope you aren't like sad by this review. It's a good log, right? It's just, that's how I feel for Zofu. I feel like if Zofu and Nova had this sort of conversation, she would have gone off on him, and it would have been like this, or maybe not, because I did just say that they were like going through the same thing. But maybe if she would have seen this and be like, "Hey, man, like, nah." But all in all, what is Zofu really doing here? He's grieving. He's going through it, right? And I would say it's weird for me to I empathize with Zofu, but I don't sympathize for Zofu. Does that make sense? Like, I empathize with him. I 110% understand in my real life what it's like to have that much pressure on you and to feel so spread out and thin. So it's like, yeah, I get it, man. And maybe once like cooler heads prevailed, it's like, hey, you gotta go talk to Flemis, and you gotta apologize, and you gotta really understand what a great and loyal servant he is to you, and you know, just check in with him. You got to rally the troops, man. I understand you're really worn out, and you got your ambitions, and it's you. Nah, man, you gotta go fix that one, right? Like you gotta tell your boy when he fucks up. I think that's how Nova might have approached it. Maybe we'll see, but this was a good log, and he's grieving, and I will say this is also part of the reason why I denied the request uh, that happened, because like, yeah, Zofu is the Sorcerer Supreme, but you don't get to skip this part, buddy. You can't say I need to talk to the person that's dead. It's like, nope, you gotta go through it. You gotta grieve like everybody else, and he's grieving, he's hurting, but he did see hope. He does have a plan, so you know we'll kind of see how this all plays out now. Since recording this video, some other stuff has happened on chat too, so we'll see how that shifts things. But this was a good log. I hope I did not crush any spirits. Do not have your spirits crushed, please. This was good writing. This is a good story. I just want to kick the character's ass, right? Again, I don't want anything omitted. I don't want anything changed. Like nothing. Everything here is perfect. It's just evoked an emotion out of me, and that's what villains should do. Like a good villain, you should be like you almost can hold them, and then they do something. You're like, but I can't hold you. I can't touch you, Majin Vegeta. You just killed all those people. But you're so cool. But you killed all those people. I can't. I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you. I'm not mad at you. I love you guys. Bye bye.